And welcome to today's presentation on Spotlight Matthew. I'm Tim Janisewski, Director of Spotlight Good News Ministries, and we are in the midst of a series of several devotional studies that look at Jesus' ministry plan. Did you know that Jesus had a ministry plan? Well, I think very intentionally, Matthew is letting us know that Jesus did. He had a framework and a structure for how he went about doing his work in Galilee of the Gentiles. Let's review quickly what that ministry plan is. It has 4 portions or segments to it, and I'm giving the letter T to each of the 4 of them to help us remember. The first one is that Jesus had a target. And his target indeed was the north, near Nazareth, up near the Sea of Galilee, called Galilee of the Gentiles. Secondly, Jesus used tactics. What do I mean by tactics? He was strategic. And his 2 major ministry tactics first were to teach as no one had taught before, but he coupled that with healing and showing compassion and care to the needs of people. And consistently, Jesus preached the gospel of the kingdom, and he demonstrated it in his mighty works. Third, Jesus builds a ministry team. That's what we're going to look at today in depth. And then fourth, we'll see in our next time together that there was a terminus, an outcome, a result to Jesus' ministry. So we look at Jesus and team building today. Did you know that Jesus built a team? It's pretty popular in our time about team building and the attributes of a great team. Well, what do people look for in a great team? They look for individuals who have the capability to do the work that needs to be done. You might look for a team member who complements the skills of other team members. I would certainly look at the track record, the success record, talk to references about what kind of a team member this new person might be who you want to help assist in your goals and objectives. There are also tests that can be taken, profiles to help give an outline of what the person's work style is. And on we could go. And these are all very good things to consider when building a team. Well, today we're going to look at how Jesus built his team. We call them the 12 apostles. And he did it a little bit differently than we do it today. So let me read our passage for this scripture. That comments on this comes from Matthew chapter 4, verses 18 through 22 in the English Standard Version. While Jesus was walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting nets into the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Immediately they left their nets and followed Jesus. And going on from there, he saw 2 other brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets. And Jesus called them. Immediately they left their boat and their father and followed Jesus. So what are the attributes that we find in Peter and Andrew, his brother, James and John, his brother, that Jesus calls to his team of apostles? Well, the first one I would suggest to you is we see what I call followership. I know that's not an exact word, but you get the idea. Followership. It's the ability to follow. Jesus says to both sets of brothers, "Come follow me," not "come stand beside me," not "lead me on with things I don't understand," but "follow me." And friends, if we're going to be on Team Jesus, the first thing that we have to be able to do is to follow Jesus, who is ultimately and always the leader. If we're unable to follow Jesus, we will not be able to do the work that he calls us to do in the company of Christ himself by the Spirit, and also in the company of other believers. And for some of us, we are natural leaders. People look to us to be the one to take the lead, and that's great to be able to do that. But the best leaders are people who have learned how to follow and understand what it means to be a follower as well. The second attribute Jesus looks for is what I like to call, in this particular case, developership. Again, something that's not a real word, developership. But notice that Jesus says to the 12, I will make you fishers of men. Jesus wants to make something out of these men. They are men in the making under the hand of the master whom they are following. Notice that Jesus doesn't just say, I will teach you things. No, it's going to be a lot more than teaching. He doesn't want to simply impart a download of information like you might get in a college or university classroom or online through your educational undertakings. No, he wants not to teach them, although teaching's a component. He wants to make them new men. And that's the question for us. Do we want Jesus to make us into new people? Are we willing to allow him to shape us, even as a potter shapes a piece of clay? He will make something of us. The third attribute we find in our passage here, along with followership and developership, is Jesus indeed does call us to go out and do things. It's a call to action. Jesus isn't looking for team members that sit back and wait for everybody else to do something. He says, I will make you fishers of men. To be sure, these 4 fishermen knew the call to action. Every morning before sunrise, they got up and they got in their boats and they went out and caught fish. That was action. And Jesus is saying, you're going to get up and you're going to go out and you're going to go fishing now for human beings with this gospel of the kingdom. It's not an armchair undertaking. It's an active call to following and developing and doing kingdom work. Are you willing to do the work of the kingdom? Jesus is asking us. And Jesus finally is looking for people who are hungry to be involved. Did you notice that all 4 of these, when they heard the call of Jesus, immediately left their nets and came and followed Jesus as he made new men of them? Yes, that's exactly the case. They were excited. They were enthusiastic. In fact, the little Greek word immediately is euthus. Almost sounds like enthusiastic, doesn't it? Well, they were enthusiastic. And let me ask you, how enthusiastic are you for being on Team Jesus? I hope you are thrilled that Jesus would call you so that you can follow him and he can develop you and he can call you to action for the glory of God by furthering the gospel of the kingdom. So that's it. That's what Jesus is really looking for, we find in our passage. I ask you simply, as you continue your devotional time, to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to follow? Follow the Master, Jesus Christ. On a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you to allow him to make something new of you, to develop you into his person? Thirdly, are you willing to heed his call to action, to actually go out and do kingdom work? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate yourself? And then finally, again, 1 to 10 scale. Today, are you enthusiastic? Are you committed? Are you devoted so that immediately if Jesus calls, you are willing to come follow him? Take time now to reread those verses, 18 through 22. Pray and ask the God to direct and guide you, and then do not miss that opportunity to spend time alone with the Lord, reflecting on what the Spirit reveals. I'm Tim Janisewski. As always, like us on Facebook and share us with friends. Check us out at spotlightgoodnews.com. We'll talk to you next time.